The Styrian Hills are alive with the sounds of Formula 2 cars in a couple of moments time. Welcome to qualifying here in round 7 of the championship as we get ready to approach the halfway mark and we run around an extraordinary circuit which has delivered us with some fantastic racing over the years. We have a circuit that runs to 4.3 kilometers, 2.6 miles, and it has 10 turns in total, some of which the drivers are not worrying about. But there is lots of elevation change. The challenge is still high, even if it does look like a quite easy circuit on the track map. It is great to see the fans out there in the grandstands ready to watch the stars of the future battling it out in qualifying across 30 minutes right now for a race, for both races this weekend, which sets the grid as well this qualifying session. So in the commentary box, my name is Omi, delighted to be with you here on Formula 2, and alongside me, excited for this 30 minutes that are about to come our way, is Tom Kens. Hi Tom, we're going to get ready for Formula 2, and Formula 2 qualifyings are always close around Austria. Yes, absolutely, and Leo Fornaroli, who is gunning for his first single-seater win for 4 years. What can he make of this session? We've got Arvid Lindblad, who will be in a Red Bull during free practice 1 next weekend at Silverstone. Very much looking forward to that. And this man has been one of the stars of the weekend so far. Alex Dunn, who was 4th fastest in the free practice 1 session for McLaren. That was a super job from him. And now he's back in a Formula 2 car, which he'll have to acclimatise to very quickly. But I'm sure he'll do just fine. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on with that challenge that he's got. But out on the circuit we go. Dunn is our championship leader. He's got 87 points to his name. Vishor is 3 back with a 2nd position at the moment. Arvid Lindblad then is in 3rd. It's Crawford in 4th. Luke Browning is in 5th. And then we have Fornaroli in 6th. It's Pepe Martin in 7th. Martins is in 8th. Montoya and Biganovic complete our top 10. In terms of pole sitters this season, it is 6 out of 6. We've had 6 different pole sitters across 6 different rounds. We've had Martin who took it in Australia. There was Fornaroli in Bahrain, Crawford in Jeddah. Biganovic started a triple header on pole at Imola, and then it was Dunn, of course, in Monaco. And last time out in Barcelona, it was Arvid Lindblad. Now, who follows suit and gets pole position by the end of today? It's going to be a very interesting story, and we cannot wait for it to develop in front of your very own eyes as we make our way through this circuit. But it's going to be interesting to see how Alex Dunn gets on. Now, I'd love to know, how do you expect him to get on with this session and the adapting from a Formula 2 car to Formula 1? We saw, for example, a driver like Isaac Hadjar take a lap last year, take a few runs to get used to it. Do you think it could be a bit of a similar story for Alex Dunn in terms of going from Formula 2 to Formula 1 and then back to Formula 2 again? Possible. But we want to be seeing what he can do here. He has been on pole before in Formula 2 this season. We've had 6 different drivers on Formula 2 pole this season as we are coming up to the halfway point in the championship. It is worth noting that the Formula 2 calendar has been released, or was released earlier this month, which we can run through a little bit whilst we're waiting for lap times to come in. It's the same 14 rounds, except Imola is off and in comes Madrid, which will take place on the weekend of the 12th and 13th of September 2026. The season will begin again in Albert Park before F2 head to Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Then it's off to Monaco and then Barcelona, and it's the Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, Spa, Hungary, Monza, Madrid, Baku, Losail, and then the season ending in Abu Dhabi once again on the first weekend of December. Yeah, it's going to be another incredible journey with some of these drivers who will be hoping to return. Some newcomers from Formula 3 will definitely be arriving as well. And, well, Tom, of course, while while we've still got a great calendar and we've got some amazing circuits, is there any that you wish to see come the way in the future when budget can be sorted, when deals can be made? Which circuits out of all of the calendar, or out of all the tracks that we have in Formula 1 right now, which ones would you love to see with Formula 2 on the support bill as well?
I would want them to go to the States. I think it needs to go. They need to go to a race in the States at some point, whether it be Austin, Miami, or Las Vegas. It depends, really. It wouldn't make as much sense to go to Las Vegas because of the schedule with the triple header that we've got at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But if they went to Austin, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, Formula 3 was supposed to go Austin in 2021 until they rescheduled it to Sochi that year as well. So I was really looking forward to. That was going to be my main highlight of that 2021 season of Formula 3 heading to Kota, because it's such an extraordinary racetrack. And I'd also love to see this championship visit Brazil as well, but that's more in the future in terms of hopefully we are going to be able to expand and go to some amazing venues. But right now, though, we have to mention that we do go to some incredible racetracks already. This is one of them. This is the Red Bull Ring, which has hosted some fantastic Formula 2 racing. And it's a circuit steeped with Formula 2 modern history as well, when it comes towards, of course, Artem Markelov making getting past 3 cars at turn number 3, and then making it 4 cars, getting past Fukuzumi at the last corner as well. So 4 cars overtaken on one lap to get himself to reverse grid pole in for the sprint race. Of course, back then we had the feature race followed by the sprint. The sprint was held on Sunday, and yeah, we've had some incredible moments. That Artem Markelov, I think, will definitely go down as one of the best F2 moments. That overtake he was able to make, and everything behind it, to be able to get past 4 cars on the last lap to get himself to reverse grid pole. Definitely an extraordinary moment. But we continue. Every year we come here, we continue to build some great memories, including Richard Rashaw's spectacular win in 2023. We've had some amazing moments, and we're looking to add to that here today. Let's see whether Luke Browning can be a part of it. He's, first of all, going to be trying to attack and get a good banker lap in as he attacks up towards Remus.
Heading towards turn 3 then comes Luke Browning, part of the Williams setup. He has been involved in practice sessions this season. Has Luke. He's hoping they can get another one before the end of the year. And I've been very much enjoying seeing the drivers, or rookie drivers, get a go in a Formula 1 car. Luke Browning being one of them. And we are going to see some of the first lap times we have seen over the course of this qualifying session of Formula 2. Top 10 get reversed, and we'll have the sprint race tomorrow, where the driver that finishes 10th in this session starts on reverse grid pole. The driver ends up fastest starting 10th, and then the main race on Sunday with a mandatory pit stop involved will be what is determined from here this afternoon. I'm really cannot wait to see who will line up where as Browning comes through the last couple of corners. The young Brit from Cheshire heading to the line, and this will be 1 minute 16.1.
So the Williams Jr. sets the pace for the rest of the field. Here comes Sebastian Montoya. Looks strong so far this season, and he's strong once again. He's at the top, only for a second, immediately displaced by Gabriele Mini. We're watching on board, if you are synced up with us at the moment. Leonardo Fornaroli making his way through it. Mini, Vershaw, Montoya, Browning, and Cordial improves to 5th. Marnie finds himself going to 8th, make that 9th now as Goethe finds the time. With Leonardo Fornaroli, though, goes to the top of the table, so a nice lap there from the reigning Formula 3 champion, a driver who is, of course, one of our pole sitters so far this season, so he'll try and become a repeat pole sitter if he can maintain that position by the end of this session, but still a long way to go as Dirksen goes to 4th.
Yeah, Alex Dunn's first time was really poor. He's way down in 17th according to the timing pages, but we've still got drivers coming through, completing laps. Victor Martin is one of them. As you can see, a little bit of gravel's been kicked up by one of the other drivers ahead, but he's on course for a really strong lap. Here's Martin, and he goes to second fastest, just 1,000th off Fornaroli's time, but a brilliant effort by the Frenchman.
We mentioned close times, and that is the closest you can get without it being equal between Fornaroli and Victor Martins. So it is Fornaroli at the front, Victor Martins is in second, but it's great for his confidence, and it'll be great for him to be able to see himself up there. This won't be great for Shield's confidence as he runs wide on the exit of turn number 9 and through the gravel strip that they've got down there in the AIX car. So he was kicking up the gravel through there, and he's right now finds himself in 22nd due to it. You mentioned Alex Dunn, of course, having a terrible lap. We mentioned how it could be part of the procedure where he has to try and well, get back used to a Formula 2 car, so it can take a few laps like we saw with so many drivers like Isaac Hadjar last year, where it takes time to improve, and he'll definitely be trying to utilize that and put that into full effect. As we see Gabriele Mini make his way through turn number 1, and he's arriving down towards turn number 2 and 3 on this circuit. He's the driver in third, so he'll try and improve. But as we mentioned in Formula 3 earlier on, it is a short circuit, meaning we can get more push laps and more time for these drivers to improve on their mistakes.
Browning, night fastest at the moment in the high-tech, who's coming through turn 4 now, the Schlossgold corner. Also a good lap from Josh Dirksen up there in P6, and looking at the times, less than a second separating the top 17. Shields' lap time is deleted for track limits, but he'll go again anyway. Luke Browning on the super soft compound coming through turn 7 and 8. This is a time lap that which Browning needs here. He is in 8th position, or 9th rather, as Crawford, who's only just behind him, is on course for an improvement, as is Montoya. These lap times are going to be crucial before they head back in. You never know with red flags later on in the session. Browning does not improve his time or his position. Crawford goes up to P10. Montoya, P7. That was not an improvement on that time run, but Fornaroli is coming through the last corners, and he is flying.
He absolutely is flying as well, as either Kush Mini or Gabriele Mini were very close, and they were driving on the grass out of the final corner as well a few moments ago. I think it was Mini who was the driver who did that. Leonardo Fornaroli comes across the line, and he is at the top and increases his advantage by 2/10. So a great improvement there from Fornaroli. But the driver who was only 1,000th behind earlier on wants to make that even closer and wants to get ahead, but on the evidence of the middle sector, that will not be the case for him. Dirksen goes to second, and he's a driver, Tom, who needs to get back in the running because he had a great start to the year, and then it's all gone slightly downwards for the AIX man.
And Martin needs another strong performance here to get himself in the title fight, with it being his 3rd year in Formula 2, and his latest up is not an improvement, so he stays in P3. Does Martin, but Lindblad's off at the last corner of the lap.
So, Lindblad trying to extract everything, but losing it right at the end of the lap, where, well, whether it's a mistake, whether it's track limits, a driver has that possibility of losing it completely after doing all of the work. And we're going to take a replay of Sebastian Montoya as he attacked his way through turn number 9, went down towards turn 10, and that's where we are going to probably see a bit of a mistake, a bit of oversteer as he got on the power, so sliding all over the place, managed to keep it within the white lines, managed to also keep it on the circuit without going into the gravel. That does not apply though to Max Esterson, who went all the way off the road, but luckily rejoined in a safe manner and continued on the circuit.
There we see a replay of Lindblad running wide at turn 10. He won't find any grip in the runoff area, but this man Josh Dirksen has come alive in the session. Now he's up to P2 at the end of the first runs, and good to see that he's him coming in form on this circuit. Roman Stanek has done a fine job also in the Invicta up there in P7. The man right now who's on reverse grid pole is Rotemo Miata.
Yeah, so the driver who started on reverse grid pole in Imola currently is looking at that same feat here at the Red Bull Ring, but still a long way to go. And surely a driver who you'll expect in contention is called Alex Dunn. The McLaren Jr. pushing on, heading his way down into turn number 6. And he is going to attack his way through with a yellow first sector. When we get down to the second, it's still 7/10 of the pace. So it is definitely taking Alex Dunn time to adapt back to a Formula 2 car. Exactly what we've seen. Now, this isn't something to be concerned about unless it gets right to the end and he's still not finding anything. We have seen so many times in Formula 2 a driver having to extract it all near the end, so anything is still possible. Alex Dunn makes his way out of the final corner. He'll still want to improve from that 20th position. 20th goes to 18th, does Alex Dunn. So that's the Irish driver across the line. Are we going to see any other form of improvement from drivers behind? So it's Fornaroli, Dirksen, Martins, Mini, Marty Vashaw, Stanek, Lindblad, Montoya, and Gabriele Leonardo and Rotemo Miata, I should say, if I can get my words out correctly at the moment, as I just watched Dino Beganovic come in to the pit lane. So it's Miata in 10th position. He's currently staring at the reverse grid pole. Change of tyres go on for the Swedish driver Dino Beganovic, part of Hightech, and he's of course part of the Hightech, and he's of course part of the Ferrari Academy. And he was out there on the circuit for Ferrari a few moments ago. A childhood dream realised for Dino Beganovic, up alongside Lewis Hamilton a few moments ago. That was special stuff for him, and he is adapting a little bit better compared to what we've seen from Dunn as well momentarily, but now he finds himself back down in 19th. So it's going to be interesting to see what Beganovic does, what Dunn does, and how they can take forward what we just had with their Formula 1 running, and now here into Formula 2. So a lot of the field heading back into the pit lane, and they're going to prepare to head back out onto the circuit, but it's a perfect moment for us to review some of the action that we've seen so far as we take a look at John Bennett.
John Bennett, who's one of 3 drivers yet to score a point so far this season. Oversteering at turn 3, and further on we are looking at Ollie Goethe, who put a wheel in the garbage up. He's in P16 right now. Is the German, part of the Red Bull setup. And over at Prema, we're working on Gabriel Mini's car. And this is not the first time we've seen the teams working on at the rear of the car at the moment, because we saw in Formula 3 this morning in practice where Noel Leon's car caught fire, and there was work done on that. But they can only do so much in the pit lane compared to what they can do in the support paddock when situations like that take place.
Yeah, and you have to wait for the end as well. So sometimes they will do what they can in the pit lane, and then they will hope that they have enough that they can just get their driver back out on the circuit to complete this Formula 2 session, and then they can go to work overnight and get it all sorted for our sprint race, which will be held as per usual in our normal slot in between the Formula 1 practice and Formula 1 qualifying. It is quite a special slot to see the stars of the future for the fans in the grandstands waiting for their F1 action, slotted in right in between. It's unmissable when the drivers roar onto the podium, when you have these Dallara built machines powering around this Austria circuit. And of course they're louder than Formula 1 even, so it definitely gets all of the attention, as does the Porsche Supercar. That's the loudest thing on our support. We will have coverage of qualifying that will be delayed tomorrow for that category, and then we'll have live coverage of the race with myself and Tom Kens calling you through that one. Formula 3 also coming up as well with their races. We've just had their qualifying session, as we take a look at some of the fans with the Spanish flags out there as well, so they'll definitely be cheering on the likes of Pepe Marti, driver who's currently running in 5th in this session. So it's a good moment to debrief and to take a look at what we've seen so far. As everyone comes in the pit lane, they'll be reviewing the data, and they will look to see where they can try and improve and where they can move forward. Prema, though, will be quite happy. They are in 4th and 9th, so it's usually been Montoya over the last few rounds who's impressed in quali. Mini's been down, but it's great to see they're both up there, and they will hope to remain up there all the way throughout this session. Top 10, while you can still have good performances from outside the top 10, you really do want to be in the top 10 to make your life a little bit more easier.
There's fans just waiting eagerly to see the 22 head back out on circuit for their final runs on the Super Soft compound. They've got another set. I think they've got 2 sets of super softs and 3 sets of softs for the weekend, so they don't want to waste any of them. And then we look at Richard Verschoor, race winner here a couple of years ago. Did also win the 2022 feature race on the road before he was excluded for a technical infringement, or he failed the fuel sample, didn't he? He failed the fuel sample, yeah. I remember.
Shaw has been disqualified so many times and has had so many wins taken away from him. Even if we go back to what happened earlier this year in Jeddah, where Arvid Lindblad became our youngest ever winner. That moment where Shaw was given a penalty, that cost him, and it was Arvid Lindblad promoted him, getting himself up to the top step there. And I guess with Arvid Lindblad, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about him as well. A driver who's definitely had Formula 3 champion material last year. Couldn't do it, but he managed to get 4 wins, which at the time was the record. So he was able to equal the record last year. It went away from him in the rounds of Budapest and Spa, which meant his championship challenge wasn't able to materialize into anything at the end at Monza, but he kept himself in the mix, and he definitely had the chance to become champion. But his main goal coming into F2 this year was to perform just as highly, and he currently runs third in the championship, so he's absolutely in contention, Tom. And Arvid Lindblad definitely has a chance to win this championship and possibly to head to Formula 1 with the championship next year. Do you think, and where do you think Arvid Lindblad will be heading next year? And where do you think his season will be? Will it be a year possibly sitting out, or do you think he will get the chance? And who will he replace if he does get the chance next year?
Well, if anything, it's just, do I see Tsunoda maybe move into Aston Martin? If that is the case, then that's the opening for Lindblad to go into a Racing Bulls. It's a difficult one to say now. It's a really difficult one to say now. I reckon if he doesn't end up winning the championship this year, he'll probably do Formula 2 again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by the time his second season in Formula 2 ends, there'll be an opening within Racing Bulls or with another team.
Interesting. Yeah, if anyone in the chat also has some thoughts on this in terms of what they believe could happen with those Red Bull seats, then definitely do let us know. But Arvid Lindblad, a hot topic right now when it comes to promotion to Formula 1, and he will be hoping that is the case. But he's got a big opportunity next week with his FP1 that he will be getting, and that will be a huge chance in his home race. Remember, a home race which last year he won both Formula 3 races. He won the sprint, and he also won the feature race. Doing the double, did Arvid Lindblad. It was an extraordinary moment for him. It was Callum Boysen who came across the line first, I think it is important to mention, on the circuit in the feature race. But he had it denied due to a penalty, and it meant that Arvid Lindblad made history as he became a double winner at Silverstone as a British driver as well. So Victor Martins is in the pit lane. He's taking it nice and easy, letting all the field go back out there. And sometimes you just need a bit of space out there on the circuit. You don't want to get yourself involved and in all of the scrambling for track position that the others who are out there will be doing.
And then Bud exiting his box, and he'll be heading back out on circuit very, very shortly. And see the Remus curve turn 3. We've seen a number of drivers lock up and go off through there already during the course of today, and we'll probably see more of it over the course of Saturday and Sunday. There goes Lindblad exiting the pit lane in some clean air, but he just needs to be careful he doesn't get in the way of those who are starting their laps behind him on the road. So it's game on.
Yep, I think that's the only two words that we can use to summarize this battle for pole position. It's game on. Remember, we are looking to search for another pole sitter. 7 out of 7. Are we going to be able to make it, or will someone become a repeat pole sitter this year? Arvid Lindblad is one of the drivers who could make that the case, and if he does so, it'll be 2 in a row for the British driver, definitely asserting his dominance at this stage of the season, but it's all going to be definitely still to fight for. We have to, once again, put some spotlight on Joshua Dirksen and AIX in specific. They were able to get a front row just now in Formula 3. They're staring at it in Formula 2, and Dirksen will be chasing his first ever pole in Formula 2 if he is able to find his way to the top. So that could be a great moment for Dirksen if he's able to get there. But it'll be important to make sure that you're getting the runs in late in this session. We've seen so many drivers across Formula 3 be competitive in the first half, but not be able to find the time in the second, and it means that you can lose it all and find yourself with a position that you're not satisfied with outside the top 10.
We're going to be in for a thrilling end to qualifying. And there is, see, Lindblad still, whilst his team principal, Adrian Campos Jr., will be looking on, thinking that one of his 2 drivers will end up the quickest and coming with the Aramco Pole Position Award, which should be entertaining for the fans who are here this weekend. It is a Red Bull Ring circuit, of which home to the brand. Let's see if Lindblad can do the crowd out as he comes through. And I think he's going for a second prep lap, isn't he? So that would be him going around before he starts his timed run. There is Luke Brown in P11 at the moment. Can he get inside the top 10, be within the fray of a strong result? And as he starts his lap now, I think the good thing is, if you do not have the best of qualifying sessions, it's not the end of the world, because you can always make it up in either the sprint or the feature races around here.
Yeah, that's the great thing. You're always going to have an opportunity. You're always going to have a chance as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that is going to play out as they all make their way through at the moment on this outlap. AIX are going to be chasing their first ever pole in Formula 2, let me just add. So it's not just a pole for Dirksen for the first time, it would be for AIX. Okay, car 11 Crawford, it will be investigated after the session for unsafe release, so keep an eye on socials. We'll update you on Formula 1's coverage as well, in case there's anything in the Formula 3 sprint tomorrow. So we'll make sure that we keep you updated across our streams if there is any news regarding that and any other investigations that go on from Formula 3 and Formula 2 as well. Luke Browning, he got disqualified from practice. Of course, we've not mentioned it because it's absolutely pointless. But but the reason why I bring it up is he's got a new engine. So there was a couple of changes and they couldn't get the fuel right, which is why he was disqualified from that practice. So that's important to know. He's got a new engine on the back of the car, so he will be hoping to power that all the way to the top of the table. Fellow Williams Academy driver Victor Martins is in P3 and he's 2 tenths away from pole. Can he change that all at the end of this session? We're about to find out, because we're about to get the push laps underway. They'll have a couple of push laps, but it's important to get it in nice and early in case we get to a situation of a red flag. So it's an important run coming up for the drivers now.
Now we see Montoya, who is looking very strong in this session over the course of today. Fornaroli, the man who many are tipping that he could end up in Formula 1 in the near future. And you've got Victor Martin, who's been desperate for form at the moment. So many could end up being on pole by the end of this.
Yeah, and that is why it's absolutely wide open. And this is what we love about the Formula 2 Championship. It's brilliant in the races, but it's also brilliant when it comes to one lap qualifying. And it's Jack Crawford, who is trying to go as close as possible to the gravel, and it tells you how much he is extracting of that damned Lucas Oil car. Crawford has been on pole 2 times before in the Formula 2 Championship. Doesn't look like on the evidence of this lap that he'll be in contention on this run, but it could definitely be interesting as Richard Vershaw is improving by 1/10 of a second. So Vershaw is going to try find the time. Crawford makes his way through turn number 9 through the Red Bull Mobile as well, or turn number 10, and he will bring it up to the line. Let's see what he's going to do. So Browning goes to 4th. Crawford comes across the line. He improves to 3rd. It was the quickest last sector for the Dams Lucas Oil man. Gabriele Mini goes to the top. Can Vershaw beat him? Yes, he can, as Vershaw sets a 1:15.253. Cordial P3.
Nicely done from Vershaw and from Mini getting up there. Cordial doing a fine job there in the Rodeo Motorsport up there in P3. That tells you that the lap times are very much coming down. Well, not so for Fornaroli as much as he would like to be getting the gap down to, as he runs wide through turn 6, and now this is turns 9 and 10 that he'll be circulating through. What can he come up here as he heads over the line? This is the man who is in need of a good result here. Leo Fornaroli, 5th before he heads over the line. He's now up to 2nd place. That's nicely done by the Italian.
Nicely done. What can Victor Martins do? Can it be a great lap time by the end of it? You bet it can. Victor Martins goes to the top of the table. Montoya is in 7th. Miata back into the top 10 and he's into 9th. Make that 10th because Arvid Lindblad gets himself into safety. That is P8 for him. So it's Martins, Vershaw, Fornaroli, Mini and Cordial in 5th. What a performance we have to say from Henry Cordial. And we're seeing the shocks that we had in Formula 3 translate into shocks in Formula 2 as well. Dirksen's in 6th, Montoya is in 7th, then it's Lindblad, Stanik's up there once again, and as I mentioned, Miata finds himself still, after all of that one, sitting on reverse grid pole. But that is not going to be the case for long, because it's all still yet to change, so everyone is going to have a chance to respond. So this final lap is going to be very interesting to see who's going to be able to find it, but it is only 100 separating Martins and Vershaw at the top of the table.
Vershaw starts another lap. This will probably be the last one he decides to go for, because those Superstar tyres will fall away very, very quickly round here. He's understeered through 1 there, which won't have held, and that will compromise his exit speed by the way he went through the curb. But he's still carrying on his ways, Richard Vershaw, 16 thousandths down from what Martins has done. It's not his personal best first sector, and he's still fighting with the machine.
It's sliding all over the place. Is the MP Motorsport driver, the driver trying to take it to pole position for the first time this season, and it is all over the place in that first sector. He's attacking through the middle sector where you need to get it right. It's not looking stable as we've seen from other drivers. Mini is improving in the first sector though, so keep an eye on the Italian driver. He's further back, he'll be chasing pole position as well. So Vershaw makes his way through. It's not an improvement in the middle sector either, but as I mentioned, keep Gabriele Minis. We're going to also turn our attention to him, as we have still many contenders in the mix. Vershaw doesn't look to be one of them. He needs to find an extraordinary last sector, and he's going to go off. He's going to go off the road to eliminate any chance that the Dutch driver had to find himself to the top of the table. Our attention will turn to Gabriele Mini, who took pole in Australia, had it taken away from him, and he can't take pole here in Austria though. It is P4 for Gabriele Mini. Leonardo Fornaroli though is in the middle sector, and he is currently setting a pace that is absolutely rapid in the first, absolutely rapid in the second. Fornaroli is going very quickly as Megatuniv goes to P13. Dirksen makes his way through in the AIX. He's down by 4/10. Fornaroli into turn number 9. Bennett with a great lap to improve into the top 10, but it's Fornaroli, the driver who was on pole earlier this season. Can he become our first repeat pole sitter this season? His teammate is into 6th. Fornaroli goes to the top by 14,000. He lost time in the third sector, but it was still enough for the Italian. He's P1.
Yep, Dirksen over the line, no improvement from him, but what a lap from Fornaroli. Up until maybe the last sector where he lost a couple of tenths, that was super stuff there from the Invicta driver, and we've just seen more drivers head over the line. Is there any drivers left that have got any tyres that they can use for their last runs? They've got just under a minute to go, but I reckon that probably that, unless we see anyone for one more attempt.
Yeah, not confirmed yet. John Bennett is on reverse grid pole as it stands as well. That will be something for tomorrow if he's able to maintain that, but there still could be changes. Right, let's review Vershaw. It was scruffy all the way round. He knew that he had to extract everything, and it was off the road. Let's hear from him. I don't think we can at the moment, but it was off the road for him. Vershaw's had his lap time deleted as well. That was track limits, but it wasn't a lap that was going to be any much quicker. So, Mini's into the pit lane, Browning's into the pit lane, so is Vershaw, so is Cordeal, and they're all piling in. But is there anyone who risks it? Is there anyone who's got the time to go round again? We'll just confirm and keep an eye whether anyone goes on and pushes on once more, but it looks like that might be our order, and it might be Victor Martin sharing the front row with Fornaroli, and I'll see if anyone goes round again, but the tyres will be degrading, and it'll be quite the ask if anyone was able to go round, but lots of them coming into the pit lane at this stage.
Doesn't look like anyone is improving on circuit, and looking at the gap as well, it's a shame that Shills is quite a bit down from Boganovic, otherwise the whole field would be less than a second separating them all.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I can see a lot of support going on for John Bennett as well across social media. The GB3 driver bypassing Formula 3 had 2 rounds at the back end of last year, and he's in 10th. That'll be reverse grid as I mentioned for tomorrow. He's 2 thousandths ahead of Montoya, who's going to miss out. Goethe is not improving in any of the sectors so far. He'll bring it to the end, but it won't be anything for him right now. The driver that's in 16th position, well, it was close in Formula 3, it was close in Formula 2, but it is the Invicta of Fornaroli, who is our first repeat pole sitter in Formula 2 2025. It's taken us all the way till the 7th round of the season to have that, and it shows you the talent. We were talking about Fornaroli earlier on in Formula 3, and he's definitely done himself quite a good job there. He's gained the 2 points for pole position and has got himself closer to the top 5 in the championship. He's got a big opportunity come Sunday, but so does Victor Martins to try and get a good result in. And also Richard Vershaw, who's already had success. He's come across the line 2 times around the circuit as a race winner, so he knows how to do it around this place.
Well, job for Fornaroli. He'll collect the pole position award to go with the 2 championship points as he makes his way back to the support paddock, which is just to the right after turn 8, as the marshals guide them through. They do a super job, do the marshals around here, in whatever conditions. And I for one, cannot wait for the sprint race tomorrow. Should be very, very entertaining.
Yep, the sprint race is going to be very interesting. 100%. It's going to be a great battle between all of the drivers around this circuit. We've had some great moments, as I mentioned, of Formula 2 racing around this place. So I cannot wait to add some more. We've got a great grid for it with John Bennett up against Pepe Marti. Joshua Dirkson's in there. So is Alex Dunn. So Alex Dunn, important to emphasize on him. The driver in 7th, he has been able to finally be able to kickstart this qualifying session. He was able to do it later on, and that's exactly what we mentioned. If he couldn't do it at the start of the session, that's fine. If he could get himself in the mix by the end, that is perfect. And that's exactly the case for the driver who participated in Formula 2 practice, went to Formula 1, and then back to Formula 2 qualifying. I can't say the same though, Tom, for Dino Beganovic. 21st place, so he definitely had some struggles in that session. So a disappointment, as he'll be starting 21st for both races this weekend, and will have to definitely hope for some great chances to come his way this weekend if he wants to get some points.
Yeah, he'll have to play the alternate strategy compared to others, just to try something different and see if he can get a good haul of points out of it, Dino Beganovic. But what a job also from Victor Martin. He needed that qualifying session, and that was exactly what he managed to go and do. This is a replay, actually. Oh, that's Crawford having to take evasive action. He did have a lap time deleted. That not that it would have made any difference, but he nearly ran into the back of the Red Bull livery car. They couldn't recognise who that was that he came together with. But like I say, Fornarelli, Martin, and for sure your top 3 as qualifying reaches its conclusion. And now it's all coming down to the racing, beginning with tomorrow.
Yeah, all of the eyes on the racing that will come tomorrow, and let's tell you how they'll start for the feature race on Grand Prix Sunday. It is Leonardo Fornaroli, our first repeat pole sitter of the year. He's ahead of Victor Martins by 14 thousandths of a second. Verschoor is in 3rd, and then it's Mini, Cordeal, Stanek, Dunn, and then we have Dirksen, Marty, and John Bennett on reverse grid pole for tomorrow. What a performance, I have to say, from Amory Cordeal. He'll go from 5th, and that is an absolutely extraordinary job by him. Lots of great performances, lots of disappointing performances, and that can be said about Arvid Lindblad in 12th. Montoya finished in 11th. We have Miata in 13th. Megatunif ahead of Crawford, Goethe, Browning, and then it's Maney, Esterson. Villa Gomez was the driver, the Mexican driver, in 20th position, and in 21st it was Dino Beganovic. The top 21 separated by under 1 second, under 8.5 tenths of a second even, and then we had Shields, who was 1.3 seconds back with a disappointing session to forget. Okay, well that brings the end to Formula 2 qualifying. Final thoughts, Tom, from you as we look ahead to the races coming up.
Looking forward to it. It is expected to be dry for both tomorrow and Sunday. But let's hope that John Bennett can get off to the best of starts, who is in need of some points, something which he hasn't yet to achieve. But other than that, let's hope for a good sprint race tomorrow.
John Bennett, who's not had a point this season, is he going to be able to get his first points, podium and win? Well, you're going to have to join us to find out tomorrow in FIA Formula 2 when we hold our sprint contest. We'll see you then. Goodbye.